everybody, Gabby here, and this week on my Battle a Day series, we are going to be playing with a team that I like to refer to as Helpful Blastoise. Now, you may notice this team has a Blastoise on it, and it does feature a Riolu that knows coaching as well. So real quick how this team works. Riolu has access to the Prankster ability. That means any status moves, so moves that don't deal damage, such as Copycat or Coaching in this case, will be bumped up a priority tier, so they will be automatically faster than any moves that are in the standard default 0 priority tier. So that allows Riolu to move faster than every single Pokemon on this team, barring Rillaboom's Grassy Glide under Grassy Terrain, and use Coaching to boost the Pokemon's attack and defense one stage. So if you pair it with something like Blastoise, all of a sudden Liquidation, Earthquake, Iron Tail, these moves become much more powerful. You may notice that all of the Pokemon on this team, other than Riolu, are actually physical attackers. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend having so many physical attackers on one team, but because of Riolu's coaching and because it boosts the attack and defense of the Pokemon you're targeting, you can kind of get away with it. Now, the one thing that you do have to watch out for is any Pokemon that like to super boost their defense, because that all of a sudden will become much harder to get around. Trick Room is a very tough matchup for this team because your only way out of a Trick Room situation would potentially be the Rillaboom priority, or copycatting a Trick Room to undo the Trick Room from the previous turn. But overall, this is a fairly strong team. I really like Blastoise. It's one of my favorite Pokemon because it's one of Chalky's favorite Pokemon. And it's just a lot of fun to play. So we'll be featuring 3 battles with this team this week. This is going to be our first battle. And yeah, this is actually my second battle. You guys didn't see the first one. I was having some weird computer problems this morning. It was very strange. I booted up OBS like I normally do, and my webcam was like super pixely. I mean, if you focus on the bottom of my glasses, you can kind of see it. It just looks very pixelated. And I tried to fix it, and then everything just died. My computer crashed. I tried to run another video capture program alongside OBS, thinking that I would just, edit them together in post, and that was a very bad idea. Don't do that. And then all the time I was actually trying to battle as well, so I ended up having to forfeit because I had no idea what was going on. It was like a comfy Lapras lead, and I didn't see that they were using ally switches until the last turn, and I was like, oh, I can't predict that because I just wasn't paying attention. But, here we are, battle number 2. Or 1, I guess, for you guys. It looks like we're playing against a very Trick Room heavy team with Venusaur and the Urshifu to allow for some speedy, adaptations, if you will. The Urshifu is definitely an interesting matchup in general right now. I'm assuming it's the Dark-type Urshifu, given the distribution of types on the rest of the team. Venusaur, I feel, is a pretty standard Venusaur. A lot of people, I think, have locked in on using the G-Max variant with Sleep Powder as your max guard option, and then, Grass type move, Poison type move, and then whatever other type move you want to fit in there. And then the Rhyperior, Dusclops, Indeedee, and Torkoal are all for the benefit of Trick Room. So as much as I would love to bring Blastoise to this match, I don't think it's the best fit. I really want to bring Tyranitar so I have Sand and I can combat the Sun that the Torkoal can bring. I also think that Tyranitar and the Excadrill just have better offensive typing against us. The one thing I will have to watch out for is, again, Trick Room. I'm pretty sure my opponent's going to start with Trick Room, but I did lead Arcanine as an option if they decide to not do that. Because a Venusaur, with some Sun or whatever, would also be pretty bad. But yeah, Indeedee, Dusclops, pretty standard Trick Room setup. The one thing I want to try and pay attention to is ensuring that the Riolu can go first next turn, so then I can copycat the Trick Room, since that will have been the last move used. So I think actually no, it doesn't really work that way, does it? Because that would be a whole nother turn away. But anyways, my goal this turn is to KO the Indeedee. So we'll just start with that. We'll start with that. see how it goes. We saw the Psychic Seed, so we know that the Indeedee will be able to be KO'd this turn, and because Arcanine is a physical attacker, I'm not too worried about that. I am going to immediately Dynamax and just go for Max Flare Coaching. I think that's the most possible amount of damage I could do here. I could get rid of the Psychic Terrain, but I don't see any threats in terms of sleep. So, or in terms of like, yeah, in terms of putting me to sleep. So I don't need to do that quite yet. I don't know this damage calc. It is important to highlight the fact that by Dynamaxing, I do forego the Choice Band, which may have been a mistake here. It actually might have been better to just stay small and go for the Choice Band boosted coaching Flare Blitz, but we're still learning. Let's see how this turns out. But, you know, Big Doggo is also very nice. I mean, he just looks so fluffy this morning, and sometimes on Mondays you just need that fluff to power you through, and yeah, okay, yeah. Judging by how close that missed the KO, staying small would probably have been the better play, but that's okay. That's okay. So now, looking at the field, looking at the fact that he got Trick Room up, my opponent is going to have two options. One, they can protect the Dusclops for one more turn with something like a Follow Me, and then, I don't know, maybe do like a, whatchamacallit, Nightshade or something to attack the Riolu. They can switch out the Indeedee to something like the Torkoal or like the Rhyperior and try and set themselves up for success in the next turn, or I don't know, something just weird. I guess Expanding Force or something for damage, but I'm banking on my opponent at least attempting to make a switch. Okay, no, they're going to protect Dusclops route, which is fine. We're going to copycat that Follow Me as a result, or not. You can't copycat that, never mind. But we'll get one more attack boost off of the Max Knuckle here, and then we can go for another coaching the next turn, so that if he does decide to send in the Rhyperior, which I think is the play that you do right now, we should be able to protect ourselves from that. I am a little bit concerned because, again, we don't have speed control, we don't have a way to reverse this Trick Room, so we really have to play down the Trick Room turns right now. Tyranitar is Choice Scarfed and does not have access to Protect as a result of that, so the longer that Arcanine can stay on the turn, on the field, even though it is at a type disadvantage, the better off we'll be for the rest of this game. We also have to worry about the fact that this Dusclops might know Ally Switch, and that could really just mess things up. But for now, we don't know if the Dusclops has Ally Switch. We don't have that knowledge, so I'm going to play it safe and try and target that slot and go for another coaching into Arcanine. So I mean, the other thing we could see here is a weakness policy activation with a Bulldoze. But I find that running both Bulldoze and Nightshade is kind of a lot on a Dusclops. If they were to have both of those, I would assume they dropped Ally Switch, but I don't know. I feel like Dusclops is just one of those Pokemon where everybody has their preferred ways to run it, and if I try and make an assumption about how they're going to run it, I'll be wrong. I'll be very wrong, but I don't think we're seeing an Ally Switch since Riolu was able to move first, so instead, okay, Bulldoze weakness policy activation. So the good news here is that we're Dynamaxed, we're essentially at full health, and we are going to be at, or we are already at +2 defense, so that should put us at about neutral for how much damage this Max Rockfall will do. The bigger concern is the next turn when, you know, we're not Dynamax, the Rhyperior will move first and just deal a ton of damage. So in order to get around that, critical hit? Was that a crit? Or am I just wrong on my damage calcs? No? Okay, never mind. +2 defense was not enough to help me on that. Alright, good to know, good to know. I mean, he set up Sandstorm for us. That's pretty nice, I guess. Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the word nice, and yeah, hope for the best, because we're gonna need some Protect to get us out of this situation at this point. How many Protects are we gonna need to get out of this situation? 2 turns of Trick Room, so we need a double Protect. I mean, know. I'm gonna try and copycat something for the heck of it. See what happens. uh, the unfortunate thing is that if Tyranitar does come to the field, which is bound to happen at this point, he is just going to get a ton of damage from presumably the Rhyperior at that point, so it might be down to just this Excadrill to try and get us a win, and because of that, it might have made more sense to, I don't even know, to like not protect and coaching myself, but yeah, nope. Alright, he's going for Max Quake into the Excadrill then, alright. And yeah, okay. Trick Room, bad matchup for coaching Riolu. Bad matchup. Bad matchup indeed. Indeedy. But that's okay, you know, when building teams like this, or when building teams for VGC in general, you know, you're always picking your matchups and you're always trying to prioritize what you want to have a good matchup against and what you don't want to have a good matchup against. And in this case, you know, the Grotto gang and Richie, I guess, since he's also the one who built this code again, decided that they wanted to have a, you know, a good matchup against other stuff, but a bad matchup against Trick Room, and that's just how it goes. You know, obviously, I wouldn't recommend having such a blatant hole in your team to Trick Room, especially if you're playing in a tournament online or, you know, in person whenever that happens again, but for playing on the ladder like this, it's totally okay. I mean, if you're playing the ladder for, like, you know, points or whatever you want to call them, like, I guess ELO is like the technical term, then you are just playing a lot of games all the time, forever. And you can take losses to matchups like these, because assuming that once you get up to the top of the ladder, which I am currently not at, you know, there's going to be a lot of teams that start countering each other and the meta just changes. And as a result, you're able to, one, sort of adopt, and two, you know, if you do have such a hold to Trick Room, but no one's running Trick Room at that point in the ladder, then you're fine. So that is just how team building works. I think that's just one of the things you have to accept when building a team, and I don't have a Trick Room matchup. That's it. That's a tweet. But I do want to take a look at their team because they're showing it to us, and I do like to do these mini team reviews. I don't know, it makes me feel smart. So Urshifu in its fighting dark form, looks like it has a focus sash, and it is a jolly one, so going for probably just fast counters to their Trick Room setup. Yeah, this looks pretty standard, honestly. I haven't seen too many Dark Urshifu on the ladder yet, so I don't know how common it is to run both Sucker Punch and Wicked Flow, but on a team like this, where your goal is to just beat the opponent's Trick Room counters and then just Trick Room and that's it, you know, win the game, I think that having a Sucker Punch is always a really good idea, since it is priority and it will be super effective against most Pokemon that people bring to stop Trick Room. So pretty standard. I really like how this Urshifu kind of covers those use cases to KO the Pokemon that would be most likely to KO a Dusclops. So yeah, I like that. Alright. Oh, he has a ribbon. Can I see what ribbon that is? No. I think that's just the Battle Tower, or the Battle Stadium ribbon, but I actually don't know. I've never looked at it. So same thing with Venusaur, you know, Life Orb, Timid, Chlorophyll, Protect, Earth Power, Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb. This is a pretty standard Venusaur set. The one adaptation that this person could consider would be Sleep Powder over Protect, just because that does give you the option to sleep spam if you so feel like it, but looking at how this Pokemon most likely wants the Gigantamax with Torkoal support and then just KO a bunch of things, I think Life Orb is fine. Like, this is pretty standard, but I like it. This similar set was on the team that we ran last week, so it's good. It's really good. Weakness Policy Rhyperior, it is Brave, which is what you want to run in Trick Room, a solid block. I don't think it has a speed IV of 0. I feel like 40 is a bit high for that, but I could be wrong. I thought that Rhyperior could hit somewhere in the 30s. Moveset's pretty standard. I think Heavy Slam is an adaptation that this person took on given the amount of NDD Hattering teams that seem to be around, and gives you an option to hit those teams super hard, also gives you an option to boost your physical defense, which is always nice. And yeah. that is standard weakness policy Rhyperior. Good stuff. Here's the Dusclops, Eviolite. Again, what I'd expect. Oh, actually, looking at how this person's marking their IVs, I wonder if that means that this is 0 speed Dusclops. Yeah, 27 0 speed, and I guess 40 must be 0 speed for Rhyperior. I could have swore it was lower, but oh well. Trick Room, Nightshade, Pain Split, Bulldoze. Okay. Yeah, so again, standard set, not likely to have ally switch. I mean, well, we know it doesn't have ally switch, but I usually assume if I see 2 attacks on a Dusclops, it doesn't have ally switch. That's just my 2 cents. You're welcome to run Dusclops however you'd like. Psychic Seed and Deity, again, this appears to be standard, plus defense is kind of cool, and that probably indicates why we weren't able to pick up that KO the first turn with the Arcanine, and how I probably shouldn't have Dynamaxed. But that's okay. Expanding Force, Follow Me, Helping Hand, Protect, pretty standard. I do really like Helping Hand in this series, and I think that more people should run it. And Torkoal. Torkoal doesn't appear to be 0 speed. That's interesting. Except it hits 22, which is 0 speed, so this person just didn't mark it. Which is fine, which is fine. I mean, I'm not here to judge you on how you mark your Pokemon. Lord knows I'd never do that, so... but Solar Beam, Eruption, Heat Wave, Protect. Again, very standard, very strong Trick Room core. This is the kind of thing that you probably should be running if you're considering, you know, a Trick Room team right now. So, thank you for the battle, my friend. I forgot to catch your name, but... it's all good. If you would like to try this team out for yourself, the Helpful Blastoise team, not the Trick Room team that just demolished Helpful Blastoise, you can find both the code and the paste down in the description below. Again, this team does not have a good Trick Room matchup, but it does really well in other cases, and I'm hoping that I can showcase that a bit more on my next video. So if you find these videos helpful, if you have a team that you would like me to consider showcasing on this series, please let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to also like and subscribe, because YouTube actually pays attention to those things. Praise the algorithm. And that's all I got. So until next time, I will see you later.